Hi, I'm Bill Donohue, President of the Catholic League. Join me today is Nick Palczewski. He's a policy analyst of the Catholic League, kind of sitting in for Mike McDonald, our Director of Communications, taking a week off. Today we're going to talk about Father James Martin. He's a gay activist. He has a gay publication and an outreach. Actually, the name of the publication is called Outreach, and that's the name of his ministry as well, to LGBTQ people. Now, he doesn't think we have enough gays in the priesthood, okay? And so he wants to have more of them, providing that they're celibate, he says. Well, okay, that's fine. But his real anger is directed at the McGrath Institute. It's out of Notre Dame University. It's a pretty good center. And they're talking about a distinction which was made actually by the Vatican in 2005. That is that we should not welcome men into the priesthood if they have a deep-seated homosexual tendency. So if it's not deep-seated and you can kind of work through it, perhaps there's a role for you. That strikes most people as being prudent. The McGrath Institute says they pick up on that. If you have deep-seated same-sex attraction, the same thing, that's a problem. But if it's transitory, episodic, it's something it's in passing, maybe you can work through it and overcome it. Well, overcome? Martin doesn't like the word overcome. Why should you have to overcome anything? Well, yes, the problem is this. The Catholic Church and the Catechism, that's his problem. His problem is with the Catechism. It's not with man. It's not with society. The Catechism says that you have that homosexual acts are intrinsically disordered, and that the attraction, while it's not a sin, is objectively disordered. Now, I would say this, Nick. Could you imagine a housing setup where you have a whole bunch of single men and women all working and living together? Wouldn't you think there might be some problems there?
Absolutely. There's definitely promiscuity. The temptation is there whenever you have men and women, heterosexual men and women. And in this case, you have men in seminary, in the priesthood. If you're homosexual, the temptation will definitely be there.
Yeah, and again, we're not saying that they're not equal as children of God. That's not the point. We're not saying that homosexuals are bad people. What we're saying is this. While we are commanded to respect our homosexual brothers, we're not commanded to accept the policies that they are putting forward. It's simply not prudent to have somebody with deep-seated homosexual tendencies in the seminaries and in the priesthood at large. And this is really the problem that he's had for some time. Now, he likes to quote the Pope Francis, that is to say, as saying that he's met a lot of gay men who are priests who are good men. I have no doubt about that. I'm not saying that all gay priests are a problem. But again, take a look at the policies that Francis was talking about. Martin left that out. He didn't want men with deep-seated homosexual tendencies in the priesthood any more than Pope Benedict did, who announced this back in 2005. He understood that. When he met a priest who made light of the fact that, oh, this is just a form of affection, Francis exploded. He said, no, that's not the kind of affection that's welcome in the priesthood. We can't have that in the priesthood or the consecrated life. So I think that Father Martin's intent might be, in the most noble sense, is that we should not be disparaging of homosexuals. That's one thing. But to welcome in men who've got a deep-seated homosexual tendencies, won't you think most people would say this may not be the right place?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this is coming off, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you wrote a book about this, The Clergy Sexual Abuse. Most of the abusers were homosexual men, and most of the victims were post-pubescent boys. So this is a pedophilia problem, this is a homosexual problem, and yet they want to bring them back into the priesthood.
Well, that's exactly it. We never had a pedophilia problem in the church. It was about 3.5%. We know that from the John Jay studies on this, 81% of the victims were male, 78% were post-pubescent, most of them were teenagers, okay? They were minors, but they weren't little kids. Now, the difference is this. This is male-on-male sex. That's homosexuality. I don't care if the priest didn't identify himself as a homosexual. We know that when men have sex with men, it's homosexuality. We've been down this road before. We had a hard time cleaning it up. We have a lot of good young men going into the priesthood these days. They tend to be quite orthodox. We don't have too many with any deep-seated homosexual tendencies in the priesthood, and I think that's a good place to be. And I don't think we should change. I think if the average Catholic knew about this, they would sustain what the church is teaching on this. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.